Hey, how's it going? This is your coach Trev Bucheri here. Hope you guys are having a great day today. I'm really excited. It's Nutrition Day, and I found this great article I wanted to share with you and and to really just kind of review and give my take on a couple points. Just note a couple things for you because I thought it was really cool. 17 health food trends you'll see everywhere in 2020, according to dietitians. So let's dive in here. I definitely think this is going to be interesting here. Um, and again, I am going to give my opinion on some of these things and just some tips and things to look out for and agreeances, disagreeances, and you can take the information from there and use it however you will. So plant-based meats. Interesting, right? I actually tried the Impossible Whopper. I did try that, and man, it tastes great. Here's the thing is that when you're making a plant-based meat, you're making it with so many different chemicals and additives, to basically get that flavor that it's almost like, well, what's better? You know what I mean? Because I mean, they say, well, the whole idea when we're talking about, say, conservationists and things like that, there's the no meat plan based on conservation, and then there's no meat plan based upon health, and then there's all the above and combinations of the above and so on and so forth. So, there's arguments about meat being that, well, it's cancer causing, that type of thing, and disease causing, and then there's other ones that are like, well, we shouldn't be killing the cows and things like that. But when it comes down to actually genetically making these fake things, these plant-based meats and everything that needs to go added in there, it's almost like, well, what's actually a better poison? You know what I mean? It's almost like six of one, half a dozen of another, as far as I'm concerned with that. So just my opinion on that, but I'll tell you what, it was tasty. I tried that Impossible Whopper. It was tasty. Not going to tell you it wasn't for sure. So another big thing that's coming in is better non-alcoholic drink options. So this is cool. There's a sober curious movement potentially going on right now, and basically just giving people who say choose to not drink alcohol. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just gives them some more options. So that's going to be a new thing: more options, more tasty beverages to actually make it a doable, kind of cool and pleasurable thing that you can look forward to, as opposed to like, shoot, what am I going to do? Just drink plain tonic water with lemon, or I don't know, whatever someone might go to. So that's really cool. I think that's awesome, giving people that option there. Ancient grains beyond quinoa. So this is super cool. I've tried a lot of these as well. And here we are. We're talking about these ones right here. So we're talking about farro, spelt, millet, bulgur, teff. I have not tried teff and more. I don't know what more represents, but good stuff. But either way, nutrient dense, high in fiber. These are great sources of carbohydrate and protein as well. They have, help lower the risk of stroke and diabetes and heart disease and things like that. And really, it's just because it's a healthy food. It's almost like, it's interesting because we hear like, oh, this helps lower the risk of diabetes and stroke and heart disease and things like that. And it's almost like, so does an apple, so does an orange, so does a pear, so does a stalk of celery and broccoli and brown rice. So it really just falls into that category. It's like anything healthy actually will do that. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. It goes along with, say, avocado, things like that. So plant-based butters, man, I'm a huge fan of this. Basically here, yeah. So basically, it just says seeds are the nutrition powerhouse house of the plant. So plant-based butters are a fantastic way to add more fiber, protein, vitamins, minerals to your diet without the saturated fat and spreads like butter or cream cheese. So it really is more of a seed base. Now, I got to tell you, some of the stuff they have out there, I almost prefer it more than regular butter. I really do. And again, this also will go along with the same lines of, when we're trying to actually eat plant-based foods that taste like the real foods, that's really when the challenge comes into play, because the amount of chemical additives that really need to be brought into the picture to make them actually exude that same taste is different. And it's almost kind of like, well, how are those chemical additives going to affect my health compared to the actual real thing? Even if, say, butter is an animal product, and again, it's supposed to whatever increase heart disease or whatever it may be, it's like, what are the chemicals doing as well? So if we think about that, in many cases, it is 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Now, there are certain brands out there that we're going to be looking at, and really the biggest key is flip it over, look at the back of it, and find the least amount of ingredients possible in whatever variation you're actually looking for. And we're using Smart Balance is really what we go for, the Smart Balance plant-based. It's great, really, really like it, and it has the least amount of ingredients that I could find out there too. So that's my take on that. Celery juice, these are awesome, and this is definitely an in thing. Juicing. If you have a juicer at home, juicing celery. If you're like, hey, I don't have a juicer, I have a blender. Beautiful. Basically, I think this person, yes, they say I'm a smoothie person here. So basically, just for the added fiber, celery is awesome. So if you're making a smoothie, just toss a couple stalks of celery in there, and it's really just going to add that extra roughage, the extra fiber, and a nice little taste as well. And really just the whole thing is the immune boost. It's an energy booster. There's a lot of great antioxidant principles with celery as well. So swapping soy and other plant alternatives here. So basically, or 4 other plant alternatives, excuse me. So soy is basically, there's a lot of controversy going back and forth between its effect on hormone levels in men and also in women as well. So really moving more, away from the soy products is a recommended thing. Now, you do have, and so like tofu is a soy product as well. But you do actually have to eat a relatively massive amount of it per day to actually have that effect. So mind you, just keep that in mind. So it doesn't mean, never eat soy again. And if you're going to eat soy, your best thing to do is to actually eat the direct soybean itself. Because when we're actually processing it, that processing does actually alter, the makeup of the soy product itself. And our body really isn't built to processed foods. That's really what happens. We actually have, enzymes inside of us which are actually made to break down whole food, particles and pieces. But whenever it's processed, these original particles and pieces kind of morph and they turn into these almost foreign particles, and our enzymes don't have the ability to break them down because they're looking for the original and they can't find the original. And that's really the best way I can really describe how processed food responds in our body. Our body doesn't have the correct enzymes to work on that process, so to speak. So when we're talking soy-based alternatives, here you can see obviously this is like a milk product. So we're talking oat milk. Oat milk I'm actually a really big fan of. Of course, almond milk, which we all know of, but oat milk is really just, it's really smooth. You know what I mean? It's very, very smooth tasting. And it almost tastes more like a milk if that's what you're looking for. So I was really curious about it when that came out, and that's my favorite so far. So we're going that way. I don't know how to really pronounce this, but I think it's Pegan, and basically this is a mashup, they say, between vegan and paleo. And, it's interesting because, paleo is more of a protein base, but, here's the deal with this one. This emphasizes plenty of vegetables and fruits, high quality fats, and very low pesticides, antibiotics, hormones. They use lean protein, and basically fish is the protein. So this is actually like Dr. Joel Fuhrman's nutrition program. And actually I wrote about this in my book. I forget what his is called, but it's basically Eat to Live. That's the book. Eat to Live. Dr. Joel Fuhrman is basically the Pegan program because it's more based upon 10% or under of your calories in a weekly basis coming from animal products. And basically fish is the highest recommended animal product on there. So this is really a cool thing that you're going to see coming up in the trends. And, of course, if you don't know, I've been, vegan for about, I don't know, 6.5 years now. And I really just do it because I enjoy it and it's easy, really for no other reason, quite frankly. And I just like to try, so many different things. And here's kind of where I ended up. And I haven't really been, I guess I don't want to say tempted, but I haven't really desired to move out of it. But this is my recommendation, like one step above. If you're like, look, I just can't give up, animal products. I love to have that. This is my highest recommendation as far as that one step above, and that's basically including fish. If you can get away with, say, plant-based, other than say eating fish, that's a really sound nutrition program. And trying to make sure that your animal content, your animal-based content on a weekly basis is 10% or less of your total calories for the week. And the whole reason behind that is because that's actually where they showed above 10%. of animal products in your diet is when disease, say really started to take off, and they were able to turn it on and shut it off when they went above that 10% and below that 10% in literally pretty much a predictable curve. It was crazy. So. And we're talking all types of diseases, from neurological diseases to cancers to Alzheimer's to all of it. Really, it's almost like the same thing from all the research that I've done with it. So very interesting with that. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to try. Ayurvedic diet. So this is really interesting. I don't really have too much knowledge on this, so I'm not going to pretend to say that I do. But it's really more of an Indian based type of diet, and it's really interesting. And what they actually talk about is you actually get something what's called a vata. And basically, it's more or less you get assigned, from what I'm understanding, and please feel free to check it out. You get assigned more or less. It's almost similar, from my understanding, to the blood type diet. If you can relate to that, you have a certain blood type, and based upon that, you should be eating these type of foods in these quantities, and these are going to mix best for how you're genetically made up, right? And that's really what this is based upon here. And I really love Indian cuisine. I love curries and curried lentils and stuff like that. So I'm really curious about this, and I'm really going to take a look into it here, because it's talking about like ginger and turmeric and cinnamon. And again, these are all inflammation fighters here. So it really just looks super cool to me. Okay, so low carb diets. So this is really interesting. This study came out, I think this is the one. Yes, here it is. So according to August 2018 study, which followed more than 15,000 people for 25 years, those who eat a moderate amount of carbohydrates live an average of 4 years longer than someone who eats low carbohydrate diets. That's really interesting. That's quite a percentage, of life right there. So more or less, low carbohydrate diets, you're going to actually see those start to fade, because the most important thing, and really what's interesting and kind of what I preach and why I eat literally about 77% carbs. Yeah, I eat 77% carbs in my nutrition, is because the only fuel that your body can use as fuel is glucose. So the whole point is, why not eat the glucose? Because if we're eating, say, too much protein or too much fat, and our body doesn't have enough glucose, it's going to take some of that protein and fat and turn it into glucose so it can be used as glucose. It's just a matter of eating the right glucose, eating the right sugars, and that is non-processed sugars, like fruit sugars, for example. I do a ton of those, and then also whole grain carbohydrates, ones that are not processed, and that's why I really eat a ton of lentils as a big base for me. So this is really interesting. Super interesting. Oat milk, that's something we actually talked about a little bit before as well. I highly recommend that. It's super cool. And I guess by cool, I mean it tastes great. CBD infused drinks. I haven't gotten into these. I haven't tried any myself. I wonder what that would taste like. That'd be really interesting. But man, the anti-inflammatory nature of CBD and the anti-anxiety nature of CBD, man, it's almost like all the benefits of the I guess the cannabis plant or the hemp plant, or you want to say, all the benefits that we're talking about, from a medical standpoint, is really and minus the fact of, say, increasing hunger, appetite and stuff like that, is really the CBD based. It's the CBD based. That's the anti-inflammatory. That's the anti-anxiety. And so many people have gotten so many benefits from CBD, and of course you see it all over the place at this particular point. And one product is not the same as the other. There are definitely quality standards that you want to really be cognizant of. So really do your research when you're looking to get into the CBDs, because just like anything, you pay for what you get, and there is definite differences and variations in quality standards with the CBDs. And there's oils, and then there's like almost like liquids that are almost like I don't even know what it is, but it's almost like a water, and then it has like a little bit of CBD in it and stuff. So there's a lot of different things out there depending upon what you're looking for. So if you're looking to get into, I haven't heard of the CBD infused drinks, but if you're looking to get any of this, make sure you really do your research on it. Dessert hummus. This looks really cool too. So definitely check this out. I guarantee if you just type in dessert hummus recipes, you're going to find just some cool things that you can play around with. So they say the perfect marriage of fiber, protein, and sugar that you can actually feel good about. I mean, that looks really, really good, man. So give that a whirl. Give that a whirl. Elderberry syrup. This is really an immune system boost. This is actually something my mother-in-law has been given, to my kids for quite a while, actually, and kind of does it through like flu season and things like that. And honestly, my kids don't get sick. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's because of this, but it's a great thing, and it's undeniable the actual benefits of taking it. It's literally just almost like you take it like a cough syrup, except you know what I mean. It's more of like a daily thing. You know what I mean? It's a preventative. Um, and let's see. Yes, you don't want to actually have the elderberries raw. You don't. But check that out as well. I don't know too many benefits, but of the antioxidants and the immune system boosts is why it's so prevalent and so popular, because it does help to fight flus, it helps to fight colds, and that's because of the antioxidant and immune boost. So it's really, really cool. Check that out. No tropics. I really don't have any experience with this, but I find it really intriguing. I'm just going to read the beginning of it. As more people focus on reducing brain fog and the risk of Alzheimer's disease, they're looking into nootropics to enhance their brain health. That is really cool. So it's basically their herbs and synthetic compounds that claim to help improve your memory and cognitive abilities. Really cool. Caffeine, melatonin, um, I don't know how to pronounce that, L-theanine, yes, that's what it is, L-theanine, and ashwagandha basically are in this product. So really, really cool. This is basically just supposed to help increase basically almost like neuroactivity, is really what it comes down to. Interesting. And brain engagement. Interesting. But beware, again, it does have caffeine in it. If you're not a caffeine ingester or a coffee drinker or whatnot, just something to be aware of. Something to be aware of with that. Essential oil infused foods and drinks. I actually had my first experiment with this, really just taking, and again, really make sure that you're cognizant of the specific oil that you are using, because there's so many different essential oils out there as well, just like they're not all the same. And the quality is not all the same. And some of them actually are food grade and some of them are not, In fact, some of them are food grade and most of them are not, really. So the higher quality is the one that we're talking about here. I had my opportunity to try this. I just tried, some lemon drops in my water. And honestly, it was awesome. It was really good. It tasted different than what a regular lemon would taste like, but you were still like, oh, well, this is real lemon. It certainly is, but it was interesting because I had it in a water bottle just like this, just like I have right here, which I'm going to take a sip of. And it lasted me, like I drank the water bottle and I filled it up again and I could still taste it. I probably tasted it for like 4 or 5 water bottles, past that, just faintly. And yeah, each of those are 24 ounces, and I literally put like 2 drops in. That was it. So really cool stuff. And again, check out recipes for these. Look up recipes: oil infused foods and drinks, essential oil infused foods and drinks. And yeah, some of these like the tea tree oils, man, that just smells so good. Adaptogenic drinks, snacks, and protein powders. So adaptogens are herbs that basically proponents say help you adapt to stress and boost your mood. This is not something that I've tried, but I've actually heard really good things about these. And again, while there's no harm in taking adaptogens, they're not the cure-all you might be expecting. Studies suggest ashwagandha, uh, an herb that's used to reduce anxiety, can help calm insomnia and other sleep disorders, while maca root could be used as a natural aphrodisiac. So check these things out as well. Another really great thing to look into if you're looking for more information on this stuff, because I wanted to just give a review and just kind of more like an awareness of what's coming out and what's new, but definitely look into these. Look up studies on these, adaptogenic drinks, snacks, protein powders. Look those up and really see what kind of studies that you can find, and even going honestly, and I know it sounds crazy, but going onto YouTube and just seeing what people say about this. When I started taking this, I noticed this, because when you're looking at advertisements, you're going to hear what they want you to hear. Whereas when you're actually going and you're getting people's reviews and their feedback, you're going to be able to actually get their truth, of what they're really experiencing with it. So this will be interesting, and I'd love to hear your feedback of what you find on this. And then we're talking about probiotics, granolas, and smoothies. So basically the fact that they're really moving into putting probiotics into granolas and smoothies and type things is fantastic. You know what I mean? Because why not, right? Why not? If you're having granola, and I know granola is very popular, and you're drinking smoothies, and I know that those are very popular as well, you might as well actually be putting as much as you can in them to make sure that that you're getting as many nutritional benefits as you possibly can. Because of course, when we're eating in those realms, our intention is health. So what a really cool thing. What a really cool thing. And they're also actually, they have vegan strains as well of probiotics, which is super cool that they're actually getting into that. So that is the 17 right there. I believe that was it. All right. Yep. 17 health food trends you'll see everywhere in 2020, according to dietitians. So I hope you got some great information about this. When I looked it over, it was really inspiring to me. I love seeing where nutrition's going and keeping up on it, because that's kind of where I geek out. I just love it. So hope you got a bunch out of this. Any questions you have, just let us know. We are here for you. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you more than you know. You have an incredible rest of your day. Take care.